Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Hadiya Pickett. I am the store manager at the Oswego Fruitful Yield location. And today we are going to be speaking on a topic that people may or may not necessarily think of, that is something that is crucial to our overall health. We're going to be talking a little bit about oral care. Today, we will be speaking with the CEO of a woman-owned company because we do like to focus on diversity here at Fruitful Yield. And her company is Radius. So you may or may not have heard of the company. If you have not, you will definitely be getting an earful. You'll be learning a lot today. She is going to talk to us, of course, about her brand. Her name is Saskia. Let's start with that. Let's get a name to her. Saskia, thank you for joining us. But she's
Thank
going to
you
be
so
chatting
much.
with us today. She's going to be chatting with us today again a little bit about the company that she is the CEO of, and as well as some of the challenges that come with being a woman-owned company, and as far as oral care, it being a domestic company. So, Saskia, take it away.
Thanks, Hadiya. So great to be here today. Thank you so much for having me on. Absolutely, we were chatting a little bit offline, and I'm just looking forward to just chatting about all the things that come up. It's going to be fun. So, really high level, Radius, and me. I'll jump into me too. I think that's probably the person side of this is the most fun for us to get to know each
Yes,
other.
yes.
But on really top level, high level, top takeaways. So Radius has actually been around for 41 years. I'm actually a second generation family. It's a family owned run business. I'm now the head of it. My father started it. So it's pretty cool. There's not a lot of, well, oral care businesses or in general natural products businesses around for 41 years. So we're one of the older and what we call legacy, which is very cool. We're also the #1 toothbrush brand in natural, which is also pretty cool. Go to any of those stores and you're going to find us. And if you haven't tried us, you need to. It's great. Like it's
I
life
agree.
changing. Thank you.
I agree.
I mean, it's like, yeah, it's just one of those things. It's a cult following almost. When you try Radius, you just really don't go back. And so it's just like this big experiential moment, just like a big mouth brush instead of a toothbrush. And we're most well known for our toothbrushes, but we also do toothpaste and floss, children's and adults, and we also do pet care now, actually, which is really awesome. We have pet oral care. So lots of fun things happening. I think, top level, we're B Corp certified, which is fun. It just happened actually in May of 2023. Not that we've been doing all the right things for so many years. It's just finally I got the time to, or forced the time to actually do the application. So our practice has been sustainable since 1983. So our first product was actually made out of plant-based materials. It was made from cellulose, our first toothbrush. And it's always been since then. So that's actually this one right here, this big one. So this is a right-handed original toothbrush. So we've been sustainable from the start, but it's just really great to have those accreditations, certifications that kind of just like put the stamp on it. So we're also certified women-owned. One of the reasons we're here today to talk with Hadiya, to talk about what it's like to have a certified women-owned business, and wherever that conversation may lead us, and what it's like to run a woman-owned business, and what it's like to be a woman-owned business in America, and to be a small business in America. So in all those fun pieces of just the day-to-day and the good and the bad and the ugly, right? So
Exactly.
and then we're also exactly, and like we're also ADA. So ADA accepted, you'd think all toothbrushes were ADA accepted, but they're not actually. It's quite a short list. It's kind of interesting. But we do that because we really want to just put that extra seal of assurance on our products and all of our toothbrushes, et cetera. So to make sure that it's known that our products really are effective. And last but definitely not least is made in USA. And I'll jump into that too. I'm sure it'll be part of our kind of broader discussion about a domestic business, American business, a woman-owned business, a hometown small business. But it's really about, for us, we're really focused on our local jobs, about keeping jobs in America, and about really premium and innovative and quality products. That's what we do. And we do it on our own machines in-house. So we're vertically integrated. So I'm going to jump into, this is my profile, but I'll wait for Hadiya to let me know what you think next. Should I just jump in, or you want to say something? Because I can talk a lot.
Yeah, go ahead and jump right in. You've already said some things that I'm in agreement with. A lot of good stuff about this company. And again, I've learned a little bit, prior to us talking with you, and then, like you said, we did chat a little bit offline, and I got to learn even more. So I'm just looking forward to, just like the rest of our viewers, whatever else you're going to teach us. So yeah, give us a
Right.
little bit of your history, your background.
Awesome. So I appreciate that. So actually, it's interesting. It's tied, actually, very much tied to the start of the company story too. But my father um, is British actually, and my mother is Dutch. She's from Holland, and they met in the Caribbean. They met on Tortola, which is a British Virgin Island. Um, Kevin, my father, was an architect originally, and architects, there's a lot of actually architects that go into product design, and he was one of them. And so, but Michael Graves is one of the most famous. Also Dyson, the vacuums, he's an industrial engineer as well and got into product design. So there's a lot of that kind of transference over to product, because there's this idea of us studying products and understanding the human use of them and making them better and more evolved and more revolutionized, really, so that the user can enjoy it and not have to work hard. And also it does a really great job, right? So that you don't have to think about doing something like brushing in circles. The product should do the job for you instead of you having to counteract the bad tool that you're using, which is like a straight toothbrush, which has straight bristles that kind of saw on your gums. So originally that's how the company started. And I'll jump into that in a little bit. Was that my mom and my dad met there, and they started the company in Tortola with the concept of it in Tortola. I was born in Puerto Rico, and so was my brother. So my parents lived there for 15 years. And then when I was 3, we moved to New York City. And so New York City was truly like the birthplace of Radius. That was the first sale was out of New York City. And so we lived there for till 1988, and then moved to Pennsylvania, which is where Radius is today. And so because the reason why at that time I was 8, so I wasn't making decisions, but my dad's decision was to start making the products. At that point, for the first few years, we had not made our own products. We were actually using a contract manufacturer in Leominster, Massachusetts. And so, it was just really a jump into the deep end of the pool, like, let's just do this. So they decided to jump in and decided to learn how to do injection molding and how to do bristling. Crazy, it's a lot. And bought a factory, not a factory, actually we bought a beautiful old feed mill, beautiful brick Pennsylvania building. And my dad, being an architect, he also restored it. So we
Of course.
became like, of course, I need another job, right? Like what? I don't know what we do. We make our own burdens here. So, but yes, that was the first time. And actually the building, we then grew out of that building in 2018. And so we actually, you can see behind me, this building it's actually a 46,000 square foot silk mill. So we also restored and historic landmarked this one. So it is gorgeous, but it was a labor of love for sure. But anyway, so what happened was we moved to Pennsylvania. Radius continued on its journey. I continued on my journey. I ended up moving. Well, first I went to high school, then college at Georgetown, and then I ended up moving back into New York City because I was a Chinese major. So absolutely nothing to do with toothbrushes, like nothing, and it was absolutely never the plan. It was not as if it was this like I had to work for the family business. My dad was really awesome and really supported both of my brother and I doing what made us happy and what we wanted to do, and to really, flower and blossom into wherever we wanted to go. And so languages was my direction. And then when, I figured out I wasn't going to work for the CIA, which is it was not a fit for me. That's way too like buttoned up. So I was like, I'm not doing that. So I moved to New York City, and I worked for a Chinese broadcasting company in Chinatown, like TV station and radio. And so I became the project manager there. I created broadcast studios. So I built them. Like I was the project manager for the construction projects. And then I translated to a Hispanic television station and did their massive broadcast studio build. And so I just kind of became this project manager person. I really loved it. I loved project management. I never thought I'd be business oriented, but I just loved it. So I was then at that point considering going into school again, for graduate school, and was looking at project management school and whatever then. And at that point, it became an opportunity to join Radius. So, my dad and I just talked about it, and it just was like it was a fit, So I went actually to Babson graduate school. I got my MBA. And the reason I chose Babson was because it was entrepreneurship focused school. It's the #1 entrepreneurship school. And it also has a big family business side. So, there's a secondary level of complication when running a business if it's a family business. So,
I can see that.
there's stuff, like there's just a lot of stuff. So, they say that, the first level is an entrepreneur. So really entrepreneurs don't tend to be good at handing stuff off to other people. It's their baby, it's their perfect thing, and they own it, and it was their creation. And so to transfer that to a second generation, well, it's pretty hard because they got to let go. The entrepreneur has to let go, the start or the founder. So that's step one. And then even third, like the second, after the second is the third generation, is actually where the majority of family businesses fail. So it's very interesting. It's very rare to find like a fourth generation family business because it just takes a lot of work. There's a lot of complications. The family starts to spread, the more like interests are involved. So diverse marriages and children and who knows, and opinions, let's say. So yes, but I did it because I wanted to gain perspective on both sides of that coin. Both I wanted to become an entrepreneur, educated as an entrepreneur, but I also wanted to be educated in family business concept and be aware of the potential fires that could come, and how to navigate those waters. And then after that, I joined. So I was kind of like an intern on my year in between my two graduate years. But then I joined officially the day after I graduated. So I did not get a break, but that's okay because it was fun, I guess you could consider the 2 years of school was a break. I don't know.
There you go.
Did not feel like a break. It was like, that was a hard jog. But then I moved into Radius officially in 2008. And then through various, promotions, I worked my way up. I didn't start as a CEO. Absolutely not. I'm not into nepotism. I'm not into I had to earn it. And I also didn't want to take that much on. I could, I didn't want to break the system. I wanted to learn the system. So then I became CEO in 2011. We were doing, and still are, double-digit growth, and which is awesome. Really, really just kept thriving. And there's a lot of hurdles. I'm sure we could talk about what it's like to run a business, and really about the spread, of your time, and what it means to take new people on to grow, but then also how much growth can be demanding upon your time, because it's just so hard to also train and find the right people. And so just all those kind of balancing acts about that, finding those breaking points, and then what do you do with those breaking points and the decisions you make to run a business and to keep it sustainable. But in 2015, along with a bunch of other things, we were doing crazy stuff, right? All just kept going, export awards. We won the E-Star Award. We won blah, blah. But in 2015, we became certified women-owned. I'm also the majority stockholder, so I'm the owner of the business. So that's how we became certified women-owned. And so, when I became CEO, even before then, and just in general, as I grew the company, one of the biggest pieces I really focused on, and I have it kind of listed here, was, I was able to have fresh eyes. I was able to come into the business. My dad had been in the business since 1983. It's very hard to have fresh eyes when you're so deep in the weeds, So that's absolutely, and sometimes I'm just jealous of someone else who has fresh eyes. That's what's great about bringing new people on, is they bring a new perspective, and also maybe aware of something that you can't even see. It's too close to you, So, but when I came in, one of the things I really saw for Radius was that we were such an amazing, and look, I grew up, all my friends wanted a Radius toothbrush. We're such an amazing product line. We're such an amazing brand. Our mission and our values are really good. We're really a good company. We don't come out with crap. We don't come out with anything except, and we don't come out with it unless it's real, like unless it's a beautiful, unique, innovative, very us product, you know, and we design everything from scratch, right? So it's made in-house, like we own it. So, you know, when I saw that and I saw how when people tried our products, even when I wasn't at Radius, and they 94%, we have actually had done a study after the fact, but you know, 94% repurchase rate. So if you buy Radius, you try Radius and they use it, like you want to use it again and you tell your friends about it. But, you know, I'm walking uphill a little bit. Toothbrushes are not really a common conversational piece, right? Like, so we know that, like, that's an issue, right? But at the same time, if it can make your mouth happier twice a day, well, that's a huge win, right? And so I just saw it as an opportunity, like, we're not a cheap toothbrush. We're not made in China. You know, we don't, it's not thrown away every 3 months though either, you know, and then not adding to the plastics crisis as much. And it's just, it's not shipping over an ocean and stuff. So there's just so many pros and or two sides of that coin to talk about. But one of the pieces I saw as a big opportunity was the natural products industry. You know, we'd been in Whole Foods since 1985. So like we were always there. We were kind of like adopted by the natural products community because we just were so unique and different. And the product was made out of cellulose. It's plant-based material. Even before people were doing plant-based materials and sticking it on every bag you see, you know, that was just what we decided to make the toothbrush out of. And so, because it was beautiful and it was clear color and it was gorgeous. And so from that point, you know, just that our premium nature and our style and our made in the USA and our kind of like craftsmanship approach to products, I really just saw us being aligned with natural. And so I really focused on, you know, really saturating and focusing on our direct connection to the natural community, because it's my favorite part of my job is the natural products community. Like, I love being in stores. I love the communication. There's absolutely no other store type in like the world where you'll get that much communication and like feedback and talking with the staff, you know. And you know, you walk into like a CVS and it's like, I mean, they just use maps and put stuff on the shelf. Like, they don't know what it is. They don't care, you know. But like, my God, the training options, the ability to educate the team in the stores about what Radius was, and then they would literally proselytize and explain that to consumers because they were having conversations with consumers in the aisle of the health and wellness aisle. You know, it just was just such a great fit for us because we're not a normal toothbrush. You know,
Right.
we're not a normal product line, and you have to talk about it. Like, why is the head so big? Right? Oh, because it massages your gums at the same time. And because it stops receding gums, and because it stops bleeding gums, and because it stops enamel erosion. But like, that's not something that people know about if they just see it on the shelf. They're like, is that a brush for a horse? Like, that's a big brush, you know? So it just, and that was just so fun. It was just so fun to be in store, you know, and to be training store by store and team by team. So that was one of my main focuses, was really like reset Radius, use that education arm, do that training, the personal touch to really explain and demo the product at shelf. And then really focus on new product innovation, you know, launching new products every single year, no question, you know, because we just needed to bring more innovation to the table. And then really, and that targeted sales strategy to support our mission. That's what I meant about the training, and then in-store sales, and really focus. And then, you know, also even during COVID, you know, and just in general, just really focusing on growth, you know, like leaning in on our local community, leaning in on our local like team to grow and to continue to have a good source of new jobs and bringing those in, and using our capacity to expand and get into more stores. So that was a big focus for us too. Also expansion, like I did a lot of real big focus on, and still am, on international. So one of my biggest beliefs is that American made products should be heavily exported, because we make great stuff. And for so long it was reverse, and it is still very heavily reversed. And honestly, like, I think light manufacturing should come back to the USA, and it is more so than ever now because of COVID, which is great. But it's just something that like I want to promote, and I want to promote our light manufacturing kind of economy going out instead of coming in, you know? And then last but definitely not least is prioritizing sustainability and diversity, equity, and inclusion. So really focused on those as kind of my ride or die. Like, those are my goals always, you know, just keep on trucking and then have those in mind.
Well, I know that, again, in being a woman-owned company, that there's, you kind of have to work a little bit harder. So I know you mentioned that you just recently got like your B Corp certification. What are some of the other certifications that you've managed to acquire just to really focus on what you believe in with Radius?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, I think before I even answer which ones, I think it's a bandwidth question. And I do feel for other businesses just as I feel for myself, not being pitying of myself, but it's just there are so many good certifications out there. I'm even looking at all of them now because, well, for various reasons, but we're doing a packaging change. So I'm going to reset and make sure we get all the right ones on the full new set. But, I think that the bigger struggle is bandwidth, and it takes, these certifications are important. They're very, very important, but it takes a lot of bandwidth it's like learning a new job. My job is to make toothbrushes, but guess what? Now I have to learn how to apply for WBENC, and it's a whole job. There's they have their own staff and there's a whole process and they know about it, but I don't. So now I'm going to have to go to school for it. Right. So, and it's great once you get it, but it's a lot, and I think a lot of people, including myself, push those things off because A, money, and B, time, are feeling like they can't do it. So, I would say just the women-owned certificate, and actually WOSB, which is their other one that we have, which is women-owned small business. So WBNC is the private organization of women-owned businesses, and then WOSB is the SBA, the Small Business Administration's version of the women-owned certificate. So that one was like our first big one, and I just knew that even then, to be honest, even though it did, I don't know, I should be careful what I say, but it didn't do anything for the first 5 years. So I'm really I couldn't figure out if I was worth, and not to say I love supporting the women-owned businesses, absolutely, but it really didn't gain steam, to be honest, until recently. And I'm really happy it has. We did it much earlier on. And I tried everything, but again, bandwidth. We only had a certain amount of bandwidth. So, but it was on all of our packaging. And I was really supporting the cause. I was really supporting the organization and just the branding of it. But over recently, and I'm pleased to say it, is that retailers are finally kind of putting their money where their mouth is, I guess, if that's a good way of saying it. I mean, they're really actually caring, and it's not just saying that we care, it's actually saying, I will carve out space in terms of new brands specifically for DEI, and I think that's fabulous. And I don't think, and I know there's a lot of different opinions on this topic, but, I just think that it's when you're a toothbrush, you are fighting against Oral-B and Colgate, right? For example. And they've been around for a really long time and have incredibly deep pockets. And in this world where Radius doesn't have any, we've bootstrapped everything. We've never gone investor. We've done it on our own, and in this world where just money is almost like monopoly money, it's very hard to compete. And it's more importantly, very hard to get a meeting you don't get a seat at the table because they're the category captain. And so it's just they decide where they go. They decide what SKUs they're going to put on. They decide if it's going to be, we're going to just make a different 2-pack this year, and that's going to take up this much of the shelf. And then you're you get crumbs, if anything, So it's not that it means that it's an unfair shake at it. It's just leveling the playing field to get a meeting, and to show your product and have a chance. Numbers always still are the winner. Your numbers have to be real and your sales have to be win, but it's so sorry, tangent, but that was to me one of the biggest ones. And I really love to see that being more meaningful and real, not just talk these days, and seeing retailers really take it seriously. And so that's, I'm incredibly proud to be a women-owned business. I think it supports both small businesses and women-owned businesses. And it's just an ongoing movement that I just love seeing grow. And And then, so second certification, you mentioned the B Corp, right? So we just got that. I'd actually, it's funny, I opened that account up in, honestly, I think it was like March of 2015. Like I literally created my B Corp login on March of 2015, but through all of it, thick and thin, ups and downs, too busy, I just never could get all of the answers answered and all the information collected, until 2022, 2023. So, I mean, that is an exact example of what I'm talking about. I'm the CEO and president of the company. I have no time to breathe. I hardly have time to see my kids. So like it's it's an actual labor of love to carve out the time to like do the application for B Corp, but it's important. So you have to prioritize. And finally, I just said enough's enough. Like I have to say no to that, and I'm gonna have to do this instead, and I think I can thank my one of my team members, actually my molding manager. He was incredibly instrumental in helping me do this, because he's amazing at capacity analysis and ingredient, raw material analysis. And so we could really give the percentages of our toxin reduction and the percentages of our waste reduction. And what we've been doing the whole time, we've always been doing it. Like we have electric machines that save 75% of the electricity used in most regular machines. We have all of our materials are upcycled, recycled, biodegradable, sustainable. Like we have all of that, all our, cardboard packaging only, it's just, we've got it all, but it's just, you have to summarize it, and you have to put it into an actual legit number that you can then submit to, plus not to mention 8,000 questions that you have to answer about your governance and like everything from here to here, So in terms of certifications, also our ADA, that's a really important one because that includes real testing of our products, right? We have to go through rigorous testing to prove that we can be ADA accepted. And it's a badge of honor, I mean, it's dentist accepted. It means that we are above the rest that haven't done it. And so that was also, as with everything, takes time, messy, you got to collect all the data, you got to put it somewhere. So I would say those are my top, those are my top three. We're actually, my next steps are non-GMO verified, for example. A lot of our products are that. And I'm actively working on those now. So non-GMO verified, and also the USDA bio-preferred program. So, because a lot of our products have X percentage of bio-preferred, like USDA plant-based.
Well, it's good that you have taken on all this extra work because a lot of this is important to consumers. You do have consumers that really only want to shop and support small businesses, or the B Corp is important to them. And like you said, even though you guys have been doing all of these things, that can help bring some new customers to you because they're like, oh wait, they're doing this, it being able to showcase that and promote that is very important to a lot of consumers now. And again, especially being in the natural industry, because that is what is important to the customer in the natural industry. So being able to actually put that on your packaging is key. So, thank you for putting in all the work and answering the 8,000 questions.
I totally agree with you, Hadiya. I mean, you can say it in a word, but it just goes miles further when it's a logo,
Exactly.
and it's certified. It's a balancing act of like just making sure that people really know that it's real. And I appreciate that because there's a lot of greenwashing out there. And
exactly.
We're the opposite. In fact, we do too little greenwashing, unfortunately. That's on purpose, but like, you know what I mean? And we never, we don't get the accreditations that we should be doing because we could get them, we just have to do them.
Right.
So it's definitely a target for me in 2024 is to button all that up. Plus, also donation organizations and, like 1% for the planet is on my target list, for example. So just partnerships, really, because I love partnerships and I love the natural products industry in general. And I really want to ensure that I do better because, we each have our own self goals. And that's a big one for me is just increasing partnerships and community and to really just do better in terms of how to speak to the consumer and to show what we're already doing, but to validate it.
Cool. looking for more things to come from Radius. So,
Yeah.
um, let's jump. Give us a little bit of background about the actual toothbrush. Let's see how Radius
Oh,
kind of changed things up a little bit when they came into the game.
awesome. I would love to. So actually, I have a fun slide. It's got phases in it. So we're gonna see
Okay.
this. So changing the norms. So this is actually a fun one. I love this one. So this is literally talking about the history of the toothbrush. So, and the radiance revolution. So the first toothbrush that ever existed was this prehistoric neem stick. It's literally a chew stick. And it's still used today, by the way. It is like in Africa and India, it is actually still a heavily used product. But it is basically a stick that is from the neem tree, and it has neem oil in it, and you chew the end, and the ends become kind of bristles. Over time, you just chew on it, and it actually ends up cleaning your teeth. Neem is really good for you. It's really great oral care. I think you know that. Everyone, I would hope that most natural product shoppers know that, right? So, in fact, we have a toothpaste that is mint aloe neem, and it literally has neem oil in it. Actually, all of our toothpastes have neem in it because it's incredibly good for your teeth and gums. So even our children's product has neem. I have to, oh my God, now I sound like a crazy person that I wouldn't know that. But anyway, so we have other things in our toothpaste too, like rosemary and tea tree oil and eucalyptus and awesome things. But the first neem stick toothbrush, right? That was man and woman's first toothbrush. And so from that chew stick, we went to a first toothbrush in 1730. This was literally the exact same thing as a stick, just man made it, woman made it, right? So we made it, but we didn't change it. We didn't evolve it. We didn't think about it. It was just a replica of a thing from nature, which is a stick. So, and in fact, the bristles were even exactly the same, like direction, right? So the first toothbrush, and there was many of these made. You put a bunch of boar bristles in the top, right? And then away you go. And you got your toothbrush. So the next iteration of toothbrush evolution was 1775, the first modern toothbrush. Now, the only difference you can tell here, so the first one was made out of wood with boar bristles. This one's made out of ivory bone handle, and it was boar bristles, but the bristles go like this now, right? So now we've got perpendicular bristles to a straight stick, okay? So that was basically the evolution. It was like, woo, we got bristles in a different direction. Things are changing. We're growing as a humanity, yay. So these toothbrush bristles are in straight lines, and the holes are quite big because it was hand drilled. So if you think about economics and you think about how many toothbrushes you can make in an hour, well, a man, I'm assuming a man, but it may have been a woman, but back then it probably was a man. But I'm just saying, a man or a woman was making this product on a machine where they were hand drilling it, and they had to make a certain amount and they had a capacity, right? They could only make a certain amount. So the bigger the hole, the faster you could do it because you get more bristles in each hole and you could finish a toothbrush faster. So the whole width, like the width of the hole, was defined by the economics of it, right? And then how many bristles. And so it was a very, very stiff toothbrush. Okay. You can just imagine, I don't know if you've ever felt boar bristles, but they're like sandpaper. And then second of all, the wider the hole, the stiffer the product will be. Okay. That's just general science, right? Like that's just engineering. Like if the bigger the hole, the more clumps, it's the stiffer it is, right? So the next toothbrush took a long time, but we got it. Okay, 1953. This is the first injection molded toothbrush that existed. So this toothbrush was injection molding on machine. Now that is the modern way to make toothbrushes is injection molding, which means it's two steel halves of a cavity and they come together and it pushes hot plastic inside and it molds to the shape and then it opens up and the product falls, right? That's injection molding. So this first toothbrush, as you can probably very well recognize, is exactly the same shape and head shape as every single toothbrush today. So not much has changed since 1953. The most important thing I would say about this toothbrush to recognize is even though injection molding has absolutely no bearing on the size of the holes or the number of holes because it's pins and they all happens at once. It's not a hand drill anymore. Like you literally doesn't matter. Like you could do 8,000 holes. It would be the same time. Cycle time is what counts in injection molding. It's how quickly you can make a product. They could have made a million small, tiny, beautifully fine holes and have tons of bristles in there and made it super soft. But instead they did the exact same thing as the hand drilled guy. And the reason why is because it's cheaper. Because it is less expensive to have less bristles that are thicker bristles that are harder because it's cheaper. You use less bristles. If they're fatter and thicker bristles, that means hard. Hard is fat. The finer bristles are the skinniest bristles, okay? You need more of them though. You need a lot more bristles if you're gonna have fine bristles. So cheaper is thicker and less holes because you're gonna have lots of like stubby, very hard brushing experience. And then many holes that are small but fine bristles in them and lots of bristles, that's super soft, right? So it was not economical to make more holes. So they kept it that way, and it was a cheap toothbrush. That is the essence of the commodity that is a toothbrush. And that's kind of what Radius has been fighting against since day one, right? So all the 1983, here comes Radius. We design a toothbrush with ergonomic handle, right? Not a stick, because that is not ergonomic, and your hand grips at it so hard because it's not the shape of our palm, it's not ergonomic. You end up putting all that pressure on your teeth and your gums. So in a normal toothbrush, when you brush your teeth, you probably notice that like the bristles, they splay, right? Like they, at the end, at the tips, they're always breaking down fast, right? They're always falling over at the tip. That's because the way you're brushing your teeth is gripping at a really tiny handle. And you're putting all that pressure on the tip of the toothbrush and in your mouth and on your gums and on your teeth. That causes enamel erosion. It causes like jabbing, and it causes bleeding. So handle, super important. Also, the head, 3 times more bristles, so that instead of having just a toothbrush, which is only as tall as your teeth, right? You actually have something that spreads across and goes to your teeth and your gums. It ends up massaging your gums and spreads the pressure over a larger surface area. So what happens when you spread pressure over a larger surface area? Like think of like a snowshoe, right? Snowshoe floats above the snow. What does an ice skate do? It cuts through, right? So, or like a stiletto versus a sneaker, right? It's a piercing factor versus a floating factor. So the wider the surface area, the less damage, but also the more massage you're going to do in your mouth. You're going to have healthier gums because you're massaging your gums. You're not going to saw on your gum line with this only tooth tall toothbrush with straight lines of bristles, which causes enamel erosion. It also causes receding gums because you're constantly pushing on your gum tissue right there at that line. You're constantly rubbing back and forth and pushing your gums up. So by doing this, you create this pillow, this kind of cloud in your mouth. You're getting it all, plus it's bigger. And guess what? Adults at national average, 45 seconds is the male brushing time and 60 seconds is the female brushing time. That's the national average. We're supposed to brush for 2 minutes. And if you brush for 2 minutes, in fact, there's a Cochrane International report using even like the large brands' own studies, which are always kind of swayed in their favor. The electric toothbrush and a manual toothbrush, if you brush for 2 minutes using one of these regular toothbrushes, I'm talking like a stick toothbrush, it is as effective as an electric toothbrush and sometimes more effective. Actually, there was only one electric toothbrush that was more effective than a manual toothbrush, like a stick toothbrush. Only one electric toothbrush was more effective, by 8% more effective. And that was if all you have to do is brush for 2 minutes with a manual toothbrush. That's it. So the thing is that we don't brush long enough. Like we just don't, right? And so when we have these tiny toothbrushes, they just don't get to everything in time. We're in and out of the bathroom. We're trying to get in and out. We like hate brushing our teeth. It's like a chore. So the idea to have a big, soft toothbrush that really just gets everywhere very quickly and can cover all of the mouth, but also massage the gums at the same time, which no toothbrush does. It's just like this totally different experience. Like it's absolutely different experience. So Radius basically focused on that, started there saying like, we're going to revolutionize the toothbrush, the simple toothbrush.
Not so simple anymore.
Nope. No. Now we get to have fun with it.
Exactly. So, what are some other things that Radius has done in regards to, there you go.
There we go.
Just being
I mean,
innovation.
I'm just flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was kind of intro too. I can flow past this slide too. This is just some fun pictures.
No,
But
this
yeah,
is fun.
is that fine? Yeah, I mean, in terms of obviously we can jump into products and just like who we are too. But yeah, and I have a product slide, at the end. We can just kind of like look at all the various things we've done. But yeah, this is our first toothbrush brand actually. That's my dad on the left. And then that's actually toothbrushes on the ground because you'll see they're actually drying them because when they arrived, because as I said, our first toothbrush, like first 5 years, we didn't make the toothbrushes ourselves. And we only had money to have one toothbrush. It was a right-handed toothbrush because we couldn't afford the mold for the left hand. So we only had right-handed toothbrushes in the beginning. So the first delivery, the first shipment arrived, and they just threw the bristled toothbrushes in boxes. And so they were all like on top of each other, and all the bristles had smushed. So they had to like wet all of the toothbrushes and then like spread them out across the floor to dry them all. I'm assuming they cleaned the floor, I hope. I don't know, whatever. I'm not gonna get into it. I was not involved. But this was their first, order that arrived. So it was pretty fun. And then that picture right there is actually the birthplace of Radius. That's New York City. That's actually where we started. It started on the second floor above that retail location right there. And I grew up on the third floor. So our family lived on the third floor. And then right there is me, actually. That's my free modeling, I guess. I wasn't paid then, I got food on the Tana home, yes. So, but
There you
I
go.
was I was the kid of the kids toothbrush, the Radius kids toothbrush. That was it was basically a mini version of the original. It was very cute. I loved it. All my friends loved it. I remember bringing it to school, like, and giving it out in like, I don't know, whatever it was, a share class. And brought my dad to school, and he told everyone what he did, and every kid got a toothbrush. So it was fun.
Awesome.
And then that's me and my dad there on the bottom. And then that's actually on the top right is our new facility. We officially moved in. It was all finally done in 2020, actually, March 2020. Good timing. The COVID was like, oh, now we can't move in because it's COVID. But
Yeah.
so headquartered 46,000 square feet. We restored it. It was totally derelict when we got it. So we bought it, and it, like all those 183 windows in there. So we had to restore every single one of them because they were like cinder blocked up. They were completely blocked out, right? So we had to knock out all the windows. We had to get new one. But it's such a beautiful space. So, and that's me, but that's obvious.
That's current
Yeah,
you, from kids you to current you.
that's right. Exactly. Like we're like right there. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
So, you did mention earlier about some of the things that, Radius, oh, there's some more of those certifications. Yep.
Yeah, no, but this is the same. We can just keep it in the background. Keep going, Hadiya. Yeah.
Okay. You talked about some of the things that you and Radius stand for, like making sure the quality of your products and things like that. You want to go over that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, actually, I have this right here. Actually, this is
There you
perfect.
go.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, one of the things that's interesting about um, like running your own business, it's obviously got its hardships, but it's also got such fun upside. You can really make a difference. And I think that is, and I'm my own boss, so it's kind of great. Like I can make some other people, I don't know, other people may think of it like as a, I don't know, do bad things. I have no idea. But like for me, it's fabulous because no one's telling me to do bad things, and I get to do good things, and I get to do fun things that hopefully make the world a better place. That's the goal. I think of running a business and just like what we choose to do, very similar to kind of what I think of as our kind of sustainability journey. It's that you have to be transparent. You can only do so much at one time. And that goes for sustainability as much as it goes for me making improvements and doing good. But as long as I talk about it and I know about it and I put some goals out there and just keep trying to tread forward and make improvement after improvement, but you can't do it all at once. But you can't make all the impact in the world at once, but you can at least try, and be honest about the journey. And I see, like I said, I see sustainability and that same light. We are beholden to technology, and I'm waiting for the day that like there is just an absolute solution for so many of the sustainability issues that we have today. But the only thing we can do is show what we're trying to do ourselves and to try and to continuously improve and when and be aware of opportunities to improve more and to do better. So, from our core values, obviously, diverse workforce. I'm a huge proponent. We're in Eastern Pennsylvania, so it's a heavy manufacturing environment. It was steel, and also actually our facility is an old silk mill, so which is cool because we actually have silk floss, so it's kind of like sympathetic. It's aligned. Um, so, but we come from steel, Bethlehem steel down the road, right? Like we have tons of just like that's coal mining as well. So it's a blue collar zone, and a lot of times I think in the past it was very male dominated. And so I absolutely love like my company. It's incredibly, I'm biased, obviously I'm incredibly biased, but whatever. But I get, at least I get feedback that other people like my company too. So it's good. So like as a work for or work provider, as an employer in the area, like we are well known for being a incredibly clean work environment, really focused on just like it's not dark and dirty and manufacturing, like, and it's not just because we make toothbrushes that's that. It's just that that's who I am and that's who the company is, and we're just a different type of company, like we care and we have relationships with our employees, and we're like it's just a family, absolutely. And it feels cliche to say that because I know everyone says, oh yeah, we're a family, but no, it really like we have long tenured employees. We also have not just young people, like we have quite a heavy like elder workforce, because that's also like so often those two, like women and also elderly, like tend to be culled out of the workforce for various reasons. And we're absolutely the opposite of that. We believe in sustainable, loyal, like tenured, really committing to like the long haul and getting good people who really care about the company and don't just like would just quit in a day, because we can't sustain that either. So it's a mutually beneficial relationship that we try and create, because it goes both ways. We want you and you want to be here, and we both really enjoy it. So there's like just a quality of life factor that I think is so important when you build a business.
I agree.
So
I
yeah.
agree. You want people to want to come to work consistently. Like you said, you
Yeah.
don't want people, I don't like this. I'm gonna find something else, because again, that affects the everything. So it's important to have an environment that people wanna come to, a job that they
Absolutely.
like, that they want to do. So that's definitely important. Good core value to have.
Yeah, it's fun too to have it, because I think we're just different from like the other companies in the area. I mean, we have like healthy Wednesday lunches, we have yoga, so it's like fun, and we get to just do stuff. I mean, it's just been, it's, it just means a little bit, to me, to be able to bring something like that to maybe people who didn't expect to get that or do yoga or have healthy lunches, so it just provides an opportunity for us to share like really cool moments. So yeah, there's that. And then also so my awesome workforce, 70% women, and we're also vertically integrated, like I mentioned. You can kind of see on the bottom right there, that's just our injection molding machines. You can't see all our machines, but we have 6 injection molding machines. Those are Sumitomos. They're electric, like I said, so they're 75% more energy efficient. They basically like run like a light bulb. So it's really, really good manufacturing process, I guess, goals, core, to really dedicate to a machine that can run like that. And it kind of ties to that sustainable manufacturer, right? I mean, we make choices every single day. We have to make a choice. And yes, it may be a little bit more expensive to get that type of machine, but in the long run, yes, there's actually an economical benefit. It's that it maybe uses less oil, it costs less, who knows, but also it's just for me a positive on just a sustainable manufacturing benefit. It's a huge one, to know that our products are not using jugs and jugs of whatever, because most contract manufacturing use hydraulic machines, which are very energy intensive. And so if you don't make your own products, you don't have that choice at all. Like you are with the contract manufacturer and what they chose. So you just ask them to make your product for you, but you can't say, I don't want you to make it on that hydraulic machine, right? Like that's not your choice. So with us, you know, we get to make those really important decisions about both process and machinery and energy efficiencies and design, you know, all together in one symbiotic state, even to the extent that that's how we design our molds, so that like we specifically design them to be energy efficient. You know, it's just like, it's a kit and caboodle, like product is tied directly to manufacturing when you're vertically integrated. So, and then of course, USA manufacturing since 1983. So I kind of talked about that already, but it's just really important to us to keep that there. And we talked about sustainable manufacturing, but I mean, that even goes down to regrind. So regrind is actually, so as you're injection molding, right, there's waste product, and that waste product ends up being regrinded. Like we regrind it. So actually all of our toothbrushes are 70% recycled material at any time, because we regrind our waste and we put it back into the product as we're making it. And so it just changes the game. And again, we're really bad at even calling that out, but we just do it because it just, it's good. It's just sustainable to do that. Why would I throw that away? But it's also
Right.
actually it saves money, which is cool too. I honestly think sustainability often is way more economical than not being sustainable. So,
I
and
agree.
then look, yeah, and then local supply chain, that just means, you know, we're really focused on, you know, actually 60% of our materials comes from the East Coast. So, and almost all of our materials are US or domestic. So I'd say 90%, 95% of them are domestic. And then the last but not least is celebrating preservation and local history. So that's just really, you know, obviously from the, you know, historic landmarking our own facility to supporting the local community with jobs and involvement. So it's just, you know, it's who we are.
Yeah, your facility looks great. I noticed you
Awesome.
mentioned all the windows, so you get a lot of natural lighting coming in there, which is, you know, again, part of, like you said, how your, you know, facility isn't, you know, a dark place. Because when you think of your traditional, you know, warehouse or things like that, you think of some, you know, dark, dusty facility.
Totally.
Yeah,
Totally.
but doesn't look like that's the case with you guys. So that's another thing to
No.
help with employees wanting to come to work. So one of the things that you did talk about, absolutely sustainability. You mentioned it a little bit earlier, and so we can probably jump into some products right now. How you
Yeah,
guys have the replaceable heads for your toothbrushes. I think
totally.
that that is amazing, except for the fact that I forgot the last couple of times and threw out my toothbrushes and got a new one. It was like I just was supposed to change the head, but neither
Oh,
here nor there. I'll get in the habit of
yep.
remembering to just change the head. So let's chat a little bit about some of your products, and some of these you guys can actually find at your local Fruitful Yield and on fruitfulyield.com. So I'll highlight those for you as we go. But this is just, you know, a few of the things that Radius has created over the years. So go ahead.
Awesome. Thanks, Hadiya. So yeah, I mean, I think the replacement head's actually a really great part of it. It is what we see as like the future of toothbrushes, because there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't just throw away the head. Like that why the whole handle? It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So it's one of the things that we came out with. I actually have a timeline chart. I should have put that in here. You know, we came out with, I think we were the first replaceable head manual toothbrush. It was 2001. And at the time, and so it was a Source, this one right here, the Source toothbrush you can see here. And I wish I had one. I actually have this one though, but I don't have that one. But so this is the big brush, right? So we first came out with the Source toothbrush, and the idea behind the Source toothbrush was this beautiful material like wood. We had a flax handle, wood handle. We had a paper handle. We have a like hemp handle, coconut. We have one that's made out of dollar bills, which is really cool. It's like shredded money.
Yeah.
And then, now we have actually you can see it here. It's called Soda Pop Eco Grind. It's actually made out of soda bottles. It's basically shredded soda bottles, which is very cool too. So all of it, all done on our machines, right? So we get to have some fun with it. We research all the different materials. I'm constantly looking for more. So if anyone's out there and has cool materials, I want it. Tell me, because I'm always looking for fun things to do. And another fun thing about, running your own business and making your own products is we can filter them in. Like it's fun. Like we can just do a new line. So the replacement head thing, I mean, for the Source toothbrush and the Big Brush, I mean, 90% of the product is saved every single time. So you just pop the head off, right? And then it's just this part you just save forever. And it's literally, there's absolutely no reason to throw it away. And then this part, for Radius specifically, our toothbrush bristles are 200 to 300% more bristles than a normal toothbrush, right? Plus, our toothbrush bristles are really soft. That's actually, we've done softness studies and stuff. And basically compared to like the leading conventional, right? Or even non-conventional, our like the way to how best to say it, our medium is what other people's soft is. So our soft is really what other people's ultra soft is. And then our ultra soft is just like, well, it's like feathers, you might as well just like
Yes.
blow it around, but the dentists are now saying that's a big thing actually. Dentists are now teaching in dental school ultra soft. And I think it's because the conventional brands soft is actually quite hard. And so they're leading with a ultra soft factor now. So
Yeah, I had never even heard of that until this was some years ago before I even used my first Radius toothbrush. My dentist was like, "Oh yeah, you need a super soft." I'm like, "A super soft?" Had never heard of it. Luckily, she had some in her office, so she gave me one. But when it came time to replace it, I'm like, I can't even find this toothbrush. I couldn't find anything but soft. And again,
yep,
this was some years ago, and now you can find the soft and the super soft a little bit more frequently, but it's a different
I know
mouthfeel, I tell you. It's
it
it's
is a
amazing.
different
Like
mouth.
you said, that's your super soft, it is like it's almost like there's nothing
Yep,
there.
yep,
Yeah,
yep.
it's amazing.
It
So
is amazing. It's just delicate. It's just so, it's like just, I don't know, tickling almost. Yeah, I agree.
yeah,
I love
yeah,
it.
it's
And
just
we have
yeah.
our super soft is the flossing bristles. So they have the tapered
Yep,
ends, the flossing style. So they get like in between. It's just great. It's a great toothbrush.
yep.
But yeah, so one of the pieces that when we look at our toothbrush head, right, the construction of this, and this is actually, the Source head, for example. I actually do this, which is pretty funny. I put my Source head on my big brush handle, which is it's my own style. Um, but these actually, like, our heads last longer from a value and longevity and a waste perspective. You don't have to throw them away as quickly. Most toothbrushes last, like, dentists are now kind of like pushing that 3-month thing. I think the brands are pushing it, but like the reason you throw a toothbrush away is when the bristles break down, right? If you're worried about it being dirty, all you have to do is wash it in hydrogen peroxide and water, and you're done. That's bacteria. It takes rid of it. It gets rid of it. And there really isn't that much bacteria. That was like debunked, that whole thing. But the real point is that, like, if your bristles are not quality bristles and there aren't enough of them, they don't hold each other up, right? So if you think of, like, just, I don't know, the way it's, if you have just a few strands, it's going to break down much faster than if you have something like with structure like this. It's a lot of bristles, and it holds, and the circularity of it holds them together. So they don't break down the same way. So in general, our toothbrush heads even last, like, we've seen 6 to 9 months. But it's up to everyone obviously to throw when they need to. Absolutely. Obviously, I'd be stupid to say not to buy new heads. I want you to buy new heads, but I also care about the environment. Um, so we have these replacement heads, and we're slowly moving all of our products to replacement heads whenever possible, including, as you can see, this Big Kids Forever toothbrush. So that was our newest launch in 2022 for children's product. And that's actually the first replacement head children's manual toothbrush on the market. And it's reversible right and left-handed, which is really cool because you can actually, it's a lot of things with kids, like kids forever and ever were told to be right-handed, right? That's number one. And in general, toothbrushes for children and adults are ambidextrous. There's no angularity to it. There's no specialization, no ergonomics, right? And so when a child is learning how to brush on their own and becoming their own, growing into an adult, they need to understand how to brush properly, and they need to understand how to hold their toothbrush properly and how to get all through the mouth everywhere. And grip is a really big part of that. Comfort and grip is a huge part of that brushing efficacy factor and building that routine in their life. So, and there's actually a lot of dentists that are starting to really push back on electric because of that. There's this like big movement against electric for children because it's not teaching children how to actually self-care. Instead, they're being taught how just to hold an electric thing like this, but they don't actually know how to brush their own teeth. And so it's actually becoming a growing concern from like a, it's like if you don't use if you don't type Chinese enough, you're going to forget Chinese. It's the same. If you don't write characters of Chinese enough, you're going to forget the characters after some time. And so it's the same thing with brushing. Like if you don't know how to do it and the real way to maintain yourself, there's a risk of losing touch with that. And then in addition, it's supporting the right hand, left hand factor, which, back in the day, I think it was a very small portion of the population was left-handed, but now it's growing because children are being, supported in choosing left hand if they are left-handed. Whereas before it was like, nope, you're right-handed.
Yep. One of my nephews is left-handed, and we're like, yay.
Yeah, I know,
My
it's so
sister's
great.
like, oh, trying to teach him stuff. She's like, I have to remember it's so different. And it's like, yes, it is. But, they embrace him being left-handed. So it's great.
Awesome.
We got
That's
two
awesome.
more who they haven't chosen a hand yet. So,
They'll figure it out. Or they could be
they're
both.
still pretty
A lot of
young.
kids
Yeah, they'll figure it out.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I
Cool.
was surprised with mine. Yeah, when they went right. Both my kids went right, but I was like kind of hoping I'd have like one of each or something.
It would have been nice, but
Yeah.
they went with the right.
They went the right. I know. I was like, all right. But so yeah, and we have a broad spectrum of products, the whole oral care set. We got children's. Actually, our number one toothbrush is our children's Tots toothbrush right there. And then but we have they're age specific, so they go 6 months. And I can't talk today, obviously.
Okay.
6 months, 18 months, and then 3 years, and then 6 years for the big kids. And then we transition to the adult, whereas their big brush, which I've been showing you, and the source, and they're all replacement head. And then we have our tour travel toothbrush, which is actually one of my favorite toothbrushes. This one I take everywhere. So just pop out the packaging. And then this toothbrush, you just open this like that, and then you close it up, and then away you go.
Yep, I
And
love it.
it's replacement head.
Yep.
So Hadiya, don't throw it away.
I know. I'll try to remember this time. And I didn't think
Just
about
take
it
this out.
afterward. I opened the new one. I said, I was supposed to open the replacement heads and just, you're just in the habit of, you throw out your toothbrush. So
I
yeah.
know. I get it.
So
I get it.
we do have the kids, as far as the kids toothbrushes, we do have the Tots in the Fruitful Yields. We don't have the big kids. So you can definitely get the Tots there, and the adult ones we carry as well. If anyone is actually interested in a chance to win some of these prizes, some of these items, we are actually going to be doing a drawing. So anyone that's watching, Saskia and Radius have agreed to a little drawing here. So if you put a little picture of a tooth or something like that in the comments, then you will be into a chance to win. It's an amazing set. It's some of everything. Saskia, why don't you explain a little bit of what's in there? Get people excited about putting their tooth emoji.
Absolutely. Yes, it's about $150 in value, which is pretty great. And it's a selection of 20 items across all of our bestsellers and a little bit of every category. So it's got the children's toothbrushes in there, it's got the adult toothbrushes in there, it's got the organic toothpaste in there, and both of our 2 new immune support toothpaste that we're just launching right now. And so there's a kids and an adult immunity toothpaste. And then it also has some pet items in there and our flosses. So it's a smattering of it all, but it's really fun. It's definitely lasts you longer than a year. Yeah, let's say it's more than a year's worth.
Yes. And again, all you have to do is just put a little emoji of a tooth in the comments, and you'll be entered into a chance to win. We do have the mint aloe toothpaste at Fruitful Yield as well, and some of the flosses. So definitely good items, and good luck to whoever has a chance to,
Yeah.
to win. That's kind of what we're hoping for. And definitely just, even if you don't win the prize, I recommend everyone try these toothbrushes. It is a different mouthfeel because it is a larger head, but after you get used to it, you won't want to go back to to the traditional head anymore. You absolutely won't. So, well, hopefully we get to do this again.
Yeah.
Have a few more products that we can, introduce the world to, and just keep doing what radius. It's oral care is not something that we really realize is as important as it is, until you realize, like, oh, I could have done this, I needed to do this. So
Yeah.
just being able to have a product that's made right here in the US, and again, a woman-owned company that's really caring about the environment as well, that's a good thing. So just keep on doing what you're doing, and we'll keep on buying radius. So
Yeah, no, I appreciate that idea. I mean, to your point, I think we were chatting about it earlier. But oral care, heart disease, oral, periodontal disease, those are connected. Choices and making a choice about the right toothbrush to use, the right toothpaste to use, the right floss to, it's important. Like these things are just day in, day out things that can just make you healthier. And it's proactive care, right? And I'll leave you with that, right? I cannot stress enough that the more preventative actions you take, the better off you'll be instead of reactive dental care, which ends up in turn creating reactive other diseases, right? So the oral gum tissue, okay? So like in our mouths, our gum tissue is incredibly absorbent, right? Like the oral mucosa absorbs 90% of what it's exposed to. So if you think about the chemicals in regular toothpaste, if you think about periodontal disease that happens to many people, I mean, a lot of people have periodontal disease, and that periodontal disease directly affects and has been proven to increase your chances of heart disease. So scientific studies proven that the two are directly connected. It's not just your mouth, right? It's your body. It's very connected to the rest of your body. And it is the first line of defense, really, for your health. And if you just don't take care of it, I mean, flossing, right? It's the number one tool recommended by dentists to stop cavities, to stop periodontal disease, to have healthier gums. The number one tool, better than toothbrushes, is floss, which I hate flossing, but like I floss with our floss because I love it. I absolutely love it. And stay tuned, we have some fun new stuff coming later this year, but it is so important to do. And number two, if you're not taking care of your gums because your toothbrush is not massaging them and you are not cleaning them and you are not, you see, like creating nice, healthy blood tissue and blood flow to that gum tissue, you have a heavy chance of getting periodontal disease. A lot, those gum grafts and all those things, they suck. Like those are the worst. You do not want mouth surgery. You do not want mouth problems, right? Like you can't fix it after it's gone. It doesn't come back. So it's so important to look at that now and to be proactive towards it. Don't use the cheap toothbrush that you get for free. It's not better. It's not. Just because the dentist gave it to you does not mean it's okay. So it's free. Take a hint. It's free. So it's a very inexpensive product made in China. So it's just branding. And I want to just clearly say, like, if you care, about and be preventative, and that's what I love about the natural products consumers. They are proactive. We are preventative. We think like that instead of being a burden later on, the reactive, put a band-aid on it. We want to stop it before it happens, So that's really what Radius is all about too. It's really premium, proactive oral care that can really help you bodily, holistically, not just mouth.
Well, again, thank you so much for doing this with us. Like I said, hopefully we'll do it again in the future and, we'll have something
Yay!
else to chat about. So thank you. And to all of our viewers, thanks for checking in with us for this recent edition of our diversity chat. So everyone have a good one and thanks.